How do we savor life's bouquet? In the first paragraph, you comment on existential angst. What does that mean?
Good question, Luke. Gosh, here we are. In life, when you reach around 20 years old, you do for sure realize that you are alive. There's no question. And then the existentialists tell us that at that point I must realize that I am a set of givens, somewhat almost a Buddhistic in a sort of way, if I can put it that way. I do know that I am a man, and I do know that I'm 62 years old, and I do have 2 children, etc., etc. And the rest is up to me, right? But I have to be determined to uncover what is inside of me, and if I don't, I'm frustrated. I mean, this is not original. This is from Viktor Frankl. He says that we're riddled with guilt if we don't do what we're supposed to do in life. Each of us, I believe, Luke, has a mission. And when I see young people that are lost, they obviously haven't spent time. You know, it takes time, Luke. You know yourself. It takes time to uncover who am I. It takes time, right? And you have to be honest. You have to be thoughtful with yourself. I mean, you can't apologize. That's why I believe I see this.
In the second paragraph, you question the sense of self. How do I discover who I really am?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the question, where am I standing, is to influence the idea of perception. Because if you look at another individual, you will say, you're standing outside of me. But in reality, everything is held within. You take everything through your optic nerves into your mind, right? Or through your auditory system, right? Whatever it is. And then I have a history, and I'm formulating, Look, I'm looking at you, and I'm analyzing whether you're tall or short, fat or thin, stupid or intelligent, and unfortunately I'm doing the same thing with myself, and I could be wrong, totally wrong. I'm being influenced by outside stimuli, and so I have to go inside of me. It takes time. I need that quiet walk in the park, that thoughtful meditative moment. If I don't do that, my life will escape me, and many live this way, sadly. Right?
How do you overcome frustration and setbacks?
Oh, for sure. Well, firstly, look, I think that you have to realize that I was thinking this morning as I woke up, it was kind of a rainy day and not a joyous day in that sense, and my emotions are directly my own, for sure. So I have to sit back and find mechanisms, and all of us have our own, to mitigate the frustration of being alive. And then if I do have a goal, and I believe in this goal, then I must be focused. And setbacks are normal. If you read any historical treatise about anyone, they've had nothing but frustrations. Take Gandhi, he's my favorite. Nothing but frustrations to finally come to a point that he was instrumental in freeing India from the British Empire, right, after World War II. And he gave everything towards that goal. Now, most people, I don't think, are quite willing to do that. But certainly, you can have your cake, most of your cake at least, and eat it too, as we say in English, Most of it, maybe not all of it. I mean, Gandhi died with 10 pieces of clothing, glasses, and a pot. I don't know if we all quite want to be that way, as such. But certainly, if your goal is correct, and look, if I could just comment, maybe your goal is wrong. This is also an interesting phenomenon. So maybe you're wrong, but you'll know if you're wrong. It takes some time. I had a goal early on in life, and it was, in the end, inevitably totally incorrect for me and my personality. It took some time to evaluate, but eventually you find the way, Luke. If you stick to the path, if you're an explorer of you will discover your El Dorado, where you're supposed to go, I believe.
Gladwell talks about the 10,000-hour rule. This means that we need to gain experience before we can become an expert. Could you comment on this?
Gladwell's thoughts at the moment are very popular. Essentially, the idea behind it is that you need an education, then you need experience, and in theory, that will then give you expertise. And I always loved the analogy of the dentist. You have 2 dentists. One who's been a dentist for a month, and the other one who's been a dentist for 10 years. Which dentist would you naturally gravitate to? And of course, the dentist has spent 10 years, and as individuals, we're all the same. which individual do you trust, the person with experience or not? But you do need some formulation. You do need an education, of course. So that's what he's talking about, Luke. Now, I'm sure there are people that do it in 1,000 hours or 2,000 hours, and there are probably people need 20,000 hours, which is around 10 or 15 years to be good at something. Professional basketball players, I see that they have natural talent, but they exercise and practice all their professional lives, right? I'm sure that's the reason, you know. And I think once you gain a bit of expertise, and let's say I've been doing what I do now for quite a number of years, and you realize, you know, when you meet someone who's brilliant, right, you realize, I know nothing. And I have to start again, perhaps not start again, but I need to work. And anyone that thinks they're finished with their career or their goal is very foolish in life, because that's not the way it is. You know yourself. Each day we gain new knowledge, sometimes from people that have no experience at all, but they somehow tweak a magical moment that you think, wow, that's thoughtful, let me contemplate that for a while, you know.
What do you mean by your true calling, Liang?
Yeah, well, I guess once again that refers to Dr. Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And Viktor Frankl believes that each of us, in that sense, is unique. We do have a purpose to life. There's a meaning to life. And I think that's what I mean by that. Your true calling is your real meaning to life. Now, Luke, curiously, I was recently in Poland and I was gardening, you know, and I haven't gardened for around 20 years, and I really enjoyed it. The sun was out and what have you, and I thought to myself, wow, I could do this. I could do this. I'm not going to do this, but I could. So I think that there's a multiplicity of things that we could do. Maybe not should do, but we could do. But your true calling, it's what your soul tells you you're comfortable with. All of us know. I believe we're bright people, you know. Our job, Luke, I think we're locksmiths, right? All we do is produce the key. But the great tragedy of life, you know yourself as a father. You know, here's the key, sweetie, but you have to insert the key in yourself. I can't put the key in. You have to put it in and turn the key to your own gifts. Right?
Why do you experience frustration when you realize that you exist?
The great gift of life, or the great curse of life, is that we come to a point that I know that I am alive. I know for sure that I am alive. I'm not sure if you're alive, Luke. You know, I assume you're alive, but I'm not sure. But I know that I'm alive, which means, unfortunately, given my shell, whatever that may or may not be, I'm free, totally free, to be me. Totally. If I live in a democracy like we live in, and even in totalitarian societies, I'm free. And that produces usually fear. Oh my gosh, now what? And you know you have a benchmark, which of course is death. But that's far, far in the future. You have no knowledge of what that really means, to be expunged. What does that mean? You know, what was I reading recently that, you know, I never knew I was alive before I was born, and when I die, I'll never know I'm dead. But we do consciously know that that happens, right? So now that I'm free, I must unfold my gifts. And I think if you speak, I make a point of speaking to people that are begging, the poor, the unwashed, prostitutes, drug addicts, alcoholics, and I always ask them, why? Why are you producing this condition? And there's always an excuse, right? Oh, I lost my wife, I lost my money, I'm addicted to alcohol, drugs. There's some excuse. But sadly, there is no excuse for life, Luke. And this is what you realize when you're 20. There's no excuse for the beautiful me, right? It's my bouquet, as they say. It's up to me.